want to show you my new toy. It's called an Evercade and it's awesome. Hi, welcome back to the shed. Recently, I got my hands on one of these. It's an Evercade. It's a handheld retro gaming console. And I fancied one of these for quite a while, but was curious, were they going to be any good? Were they not? So this was released over a year ago now. At the time of release, Blaze committed to a fact that they were going to be regularly releasing game cartridges for it and that it would be supported well. But you never know with these things. So I held off for a while. And recently, they've announced an Evercade Versus, which is a multiplayer console that plugs into a TV and uses the same cartridges as this thing. So I put down a pre-order on one of those, picked up one of these in the meantime to really get into what it's all about. Well, I've picked one up now and we're going to take a look at it. Alright, so this is the version I got. There's a few different ones that you can get. It's the same console, but it just depends on which games come bundled with it. The one that I got is the premium pack. It seems to be the best value. It comes with 3 game collections, which we'll look at in a moment. This was $79.99 for quite a while, and Game in the UK have started retailing it for $59.99. And at that point, I just really couldn't say no. I'd been curious about buying one of these for quite a while. Yeah, £60 with 3 cartridges and the console itself. I thought it was a no-brainer. Now, a little bit of background on this. There are so many retro gaming handhelds out there. I did go through a bit of a phase a while ago of getting all these latest new amazing Game Boy replacements like the little BitBoy. You can load them up with all sorts of different emulators, and say I wanted to play Game Boy Advance games, so you can pack them with a whole load of different games on there. It runs them pretty well. But the thing is, with all of these things, I tend to get quite overwhelmed. I got the BitBoy and then the Odroid Go. This is kind of cool, little Game Boy replacement. It's quite nice and slim, and it was like a build it yourself kit, which was kind of cool. And I've got that one set to just load up Pokemon, and that's basically what that gets used for, which is cool by me. This one here, the LDK handheld, is very similar sort of thing to the BitBoy. But like I say, generally with these things, first of all, you are emulating, which means that you aren't really legitimately owning these games. You're supposed to get the ROMs of the games that you already legally own and blah de blah. It's kind of cool and it's fun. But generally with these, what I tend to do is I'll spend ages obsessing over them, getting all the firmware set up, get everything up to date, install all the ROMs, emulators all working. Once I've got to that point, I tend to lose interest. I don't play on them that much really, because I'll go back to my original Game Boys and things. Now, Blaze, who make the Evercade, in the past have made handhelds that have left a little bit to be desired. This is about the best one that they've done. It's a 6-button Mega Drive emulator machine. It's got an SD card slot in there, so as well as the games that are already automatically on it, you can add your own as well through the SD card. I mean, it wasn't too bad, but the sound emulation is horrendous. I just can't. I mean, it looks great, it plays quite nicely, but that sound emulation ruined it. The whole nostalgia appeal, particularly with games like this, is the sounds, and when the sounds are wrong, it just doesn't get much play from me. So, enter Evercade. Now, this system is unique in that it's got officially licensed games on it. So you are playing all the old retro games, you've got all sorts of different collections, but it's all above board, it's all legal, it's all legit, and it makes it so that you don't have quite as many games, which isn't actually a bad thing. This is the premium pack. It comes with 3 game collections. It will also play on your TV, but it's primarily a handheld. On the side and the back, it's got lots of information all about it, but let's just take a look inside and see what we've got and how it's packaged. So there's like an outer sleeve that comes off, and then the box ready to play again, which is quite a nice touch. We open up, we've got a quick start guide, we've got the console itself, which we'll take a closer look at in a moment. There's a little polystyrene insert, and then below that you've got your 3 game collections and a USB cable for charging. So that's it. So this is the console itself. The thing that surprised me the most when I got this out is the quality feels much higher than the price that I paid for it. I was expecting it to feel quite cheap, but it is really nicely built. Little clicky shoulder buttons. You got that kind of clear plastic aesthetic with the text at the back on the main buttons there. The layout is nice and retro. It's got like a flat front to it, but the curves on the back, the ergonomics are nice. Like, it's comfortable for handheld play. If you've played like a Game Boy Advance console, it's reminiscent of that. Even like this little indent here for resting your fingers, it's nice. It's got an input for your headphones if you want to. It charges via USB micro, not USB-C. It's fine for the price point, but I would rather have USB-C. But it's not a deal breaker. Volume control on the bottom. It switches on and off with a nice clicky switch there, and we've got the HDMI mini input there. So not a standard HDMI cable, which is fine because you'd end up with like a big opening there, which we don't really want. So that's part of the reason why I've not tried it yet, because it doesn't come with an HDMI cable. So when you switch on, you're greeted with a Blaze boot up logo, and if we turn the volume up, even down to the little crackle on the sample is quite a cool little retro style, and it says please insert cartridge. Now here are the cartridges I got. I've got Namco Collection 1, Atari Collection 1 and Interplay Collection 1. This one's just got 6 games. This was one that sounded really cool at first, like Earthworm Jim, Boogerman, Clay Fighter, Battle Chess. It's like pathetically slow, but you know, you get a bit of a mix of things on there, and it's quite good fun to play. Atari Collection 1 has got 20 Atari games on there. That is really good. It's like the old 2600 and 7800 games on there. I really like that one. I've played that one much more than I thought I would, and again, with just having 20 games on there, it means you spend a little bit more time trying them out. And on Namco Museum Collection 1, there's 11 games on there, stuff like Pac-Man, Exevius, Dig Dug, Mappy. It's a really great little collection, that one. So what we do is we take our cartridge. Now this is nice, it's got like the artwork on there, but when it plugs into the console, it's like a really flush fit, so it becomes part of the console, but it's got the logo and lets you know which cartridge you've got plugged in on the back of that there. Now when that's in, it brings up this cool little menu screen, so you can go through, and each one has got like a screenshot, information about the game, what it's called, when it was released, what console it was on, and the front cover artwork, which I think is really nice. Let's just take a moment to appreciate how they've packaged up these games to appeal to retro gamers, from the artwork and the layout to these plastic clamshell cases, to the fact that each one comes with a little detailed booklet with lots of lovely artwork in it and information about Atari, about each game, and a bit of background and the controls for each game. I think it's that attention to detail that's really carefully designed to appeal to your retro collectors. So it's not just about games that came out a long time ago. Retro style games are catered for as well. So the Indie Heroes collection I bought recently, this is about £15 for 14 games. So it's like just over £1 a game. And these are really great little games that have been developed specifically for the Evercade console. So these are recently made games, but they're made in a retro style. So in terms of playing the games, the controls are really comfortable. Like when you hold it, you pick it up, your thumbs fall in exactly the right spot. The face buttons are nice and comfortable to the touch. They're rounded over slightly on the edges, so there's nothing cutting into your thumbs. There is the start, select and menu buttons, easy to access but never accidentally touched. And the D-pad kind of reminds me of the Sega Saturn controllers that have that flat disc that floats and rotates around. It's really comfortable to use. It feels nice and solid. The other buttons have a good kind of response to them, and the shoulder buttons have like this slight recess to them that your finger just sits in really comfortably. So the ergonomics of it are great. Not even really covering up the speakers, like the angle of these grills just fit nicely between your hands. I think the design of this thing is great. Now the screen itself was something that set alarm bells ringing for me at first because of the width of it. Also, this whole surface is the sort of plastic or polycarbonate sheet. So it's not like a glass screen like you can get for a lot of custom Game Boys now. So I was a little concerned about that. But with a soft cloth, like a glasses cleaning cloth, just gentle rotations with that will clean the surface. And so far, it's not scratched at all. The quality of the screen seems pretty good. It seems like quite a good hard surface, so I really hope that continues. All right, so let's check out some gameplay. So the cartridges, they've got like a little recess in them, so you can slide those out. We'll put Namco Museum in, so switch on at the top there. And wait for the boot up. So the screen itself isn't absolutely amazing, but it's certainly good enough. It's got good viewing angles, a little bit washed out if you look from the very, very top, but from the bottom it's good and solid, and sides are good. So Yeah, I've not really had any problems with that. When you switch on and you're on this menu screen, you've got a little battery indicator. So you see that's on like 4 bars now, but I don't know if there's any way of checking on the battery status while you're playing the games. So when you're in the main menu, you can cycle through the different games, choose the one you want. So we'll load Battle Cars there, and that'll load up. And they're fairly quick to load, again, because it's coming straight from a cartridge. There's no disk loading times or anything like that. But once it's loaded, you can either start your game, or if you press the menu button, you've got in-game menu. So you can choose to return to the game, load state, save state, settings, or quick game. So if I go to load state and load from slot 1, that was when I last played and I lost a race. So now I can continue from exactly where I was up to. So then that'll go in, it'll load up a new game, and off I go. So I'm accelerating with the B button, and I can steer either with the shoulder buttons or the left and right, which is a nice touch, because while you're racing, the left and right are pretty good. And in terms of this game, it's quite fast paced, and the animation and the frame rate and everything are really smooth. The colours are bright enough, the screen, you can adjust brightness and so on. But it's good. I mean, it's actually a much better screen than I was expecting. I'm playing really badly because I'm looking at my camera and I'm talking and all the rest, and I do suck at this game anyway. Okay, so now I'm loading up the Interplay Collection 1. While we're in the menu screen, if you press menu, it's a bit like with the in-game menu before, but you get a main menu now. So you can go on the screen ratio and you can choose whether you want original size or full screen. Screen brightness, I've currently got on maximum, but you can go on low or maximum or high or medium. So I'll just put it on maximum for now. Now that does wear down the battery a fair bit quicker. Menu sound on. So the firmware version is on the latest one, 1.3.1. There is actually a firmware update tool which you can get, which only works with Windows, but it was really easy to use. There's a workaround with Macs. I mainly use a Mac, but I'll say from my experience it's much easier to just find someone with a Windows PC and do it on there. That was much easier. So let's just come out of there. Let's choose a game. So if we load up something like Earthworm Jim, again, from the menu, you can go return to game, or if you go quick game, that takes you back to the main menu and you can choose other ones. So you've got like Incantation, which is like a little platformer type puzzle game. And again, the interface is all dead easy. And once you've got the games loaded and you're playing them, they look really good. The controls are nice. The sound's good as well. Again, with it being the stereo speakers, it sounds really nice. Anyway, let's turn that off and we'll look at the Indie Heroes collection. So the Indie Heroes is the first one that I bought separately. I was a little bit underwhelmed with the ones that came with it. I mean, they were all right, but there's only so much gameplay time I managed to get out of Atari 2600 games these days. And I wanted something a little bit different, something a bit more engaging. And Indie Heroes has got all sorts of adventure games, platform games, puzzle games. There's a really nice little selection on there. Now, when I got it, the first game I played was Alien Cat 2, which was just the first one on the list. So I just loaded it up to try it out. And I ended up just playing it to death. I played through the entire game, completed every puzzle, and that's where the save state came in. Really handy. We have to make our way around collecting up the keys. There's like a little red button that you press that gets rid of the spikes. Once the spikes are gone, you can collect the keys, and then the exit comes up and he gets an extra little part of his spaceship. So if I just go to load state and slot 1, where I've played for an hour and a half, you can see that later on it gets much more involved, and you've got like 4 of these little cats at the same time, and you have to navigate them all around, and then having the scenery in the way can mean that you can space them out slightly differently and rearrange them where you want them, and kind of navigate them all around to collect the keys without crashing. And it does get really tricky, and it's just a great little game. So if we go back to quick game, on here there are just loads of different ones. So there's a 16-bit puzzle game, which is what we've just been playing there. There's like RPGs, running games, loads and loads of different cool games. It's a really great little collection, and the one I've been playing is Dedeus. Anyway, It's one that was made for Game Boy, but it's ported on as part of this. It's the recent development for Game Boy, and it's like a kind of horror themed top-down game, kind of like Link's Awakening or Pokemon kind of style interface. And again, I've got a game saved on there, so if I go load state, okay, and then I'm in my little room there, I can check on my diary to save, and the quality of the screen and everything's great for this sort of game. So I'm on day 2 at the moment, so he's having all these different nightmares, and there's going and visiting graveyards and things. It's like a kind of a goth Pokemon, but it's really good fun. So yeah, I mean, that's it in terms of the gameplay, and it's so intuitive in terms of the controls. Your thumbs sit really comfortably on the buttons and the D-pad. The menu start and select are easy to get to when you want them, but it's very, very rare that you'd actually accidentally knock them. The shoulder buttons are lovely and comfortable. Again, the power switch and the volume controls aren't going to get knocked accidentally. It's a really well thought out machine, and it runs the games nicely. And I will definitely, particularly after buying this, and getting much more involved with playing the games compared to the other collections that came with it, I think there's a reason that these ones were packed in with it, because they wouldn't necessarily be that appealing to buy, but once you've got them, there's some quite good fun games to play. Whereas ones like this, I think are really, really great. This is the kind of thing that I will enjoy playing on it. But on the whole, I just think, I mean, I paid $59.99 for this, and that was even with the 3 game collections, so I don't think it's a huge financial risk. And also, they seem to be holding their value well, because when I was shopping around for them, I was looking for second-hand ones on eBay and things, and you know, you can't really find any cheaper ones, because I think a lot of people that buy them keep them, which is definitely a good sign. So that's it, really. It's a really unique selling point for something like this. The fact that all of the games on it are legit, and the fact that you can buy like a little collection, a small amount of games to choose from, means that you're really likely to invest some more time in it. The whole presentation of it, the quality of it, is really nice. It's much higher quality than I expected it to be. And yeah, I mean, for the price you can get them for, I would totally recommend it. So yeah, anyone else got one of these? Let me know what you think. And if you want to see more like this, do please like, subscribe, comment, interact, because that's what I really enjoy about doing these videos. Till then, I'll see you next time. Bye.